Today is Friday, which means I have brought you content. Last week I spent 12 hours on a drawing, and this week I was burnt out. So instead of trying to follow the latest trend or beat that record, I decided to draw something really quick that would make me really happy. My cats. I haven't mentioned it in a while because I really hate doing self-promo because it just feels weird, but I do have a little Redbubble shop, link in the description, and I sell little designs that are, well, I think they're best suited for stickers, but they can really be on anything you want. Some of the designs on there are quite old, but the designs most loved by people are this dragon making creme brulee, followed by these little adventure buddies. Fun fact about the adventure cats in particular is that they're all designed after real-life cats belonging to real people. This one is a cat named Merlin, and this one is a cat named Gracie. Neither of those cats are my cats, so I didn't want to post pictures of them on the internet without permission because, you know, but I assure you that they are very cute. And I decided it was high time that I expand this collection and make adventure cat stickers of my cats. Let me introduce you to my cats, Grohl and Hawkins. Yes, named for the Foo Fighters band members, Taylor Hawkins, may he rest in peace. But they were actually stray cats that were given to us by my husband's grandma. She lives around a lot of farmland, and in that area there's lots of old sheds and barns, and those make good hiding places for stray cats. She does her best to take in as many as she can, rehouse them, get them food, medicine, or at the very least make sure they have a nice warm place to be during the winter. Hawkins and Grohl were the first two of I think 9 kittens that were rescued from that place, and after a couple of weeks of being taken care of till they were in a more healthy state and then getting them acclimated to being around people, in early December, my husband and I decided to take them both in. And now they are very spoiled and much loved cats. When we first pet Grohl, you could feel every little tiny kitten bone, and now he's just a beautiful big cat. Just a heckin' chonker. And Hawkins is just a little gremlin, an absolute gremlin. He's just a classic one brain cell orange cat. And it's kind of technically their birthday, kind of, maybe, I don't know. But anyways, they deserve to have little adventure cat versions of themselves made. So I start with drawing Hawkins, who I currently lovingly call Hawa, because what's that one Tumblr post say about calling your pet anything but their legal name? You bury a seed not because it looks nice in the dirt, but because the limbs that branch out will look nice in the sky. Anyways, I started with Hawa because I had a much more clear idea of what I wanted to have drawn for him. Although, to be honest, I had done very little planning for the drawing overall. I knew adventure cats, and I knew I wanted to give them mushroom hats because, well, my Adventure Girl sticker has a mushroom hat, and they're my cats, so it makes sense, maybe? Anyways, I went to look at some ideas, and that's why there are these massive pauses. Actually, I remember what specifically happened here. I pressed the record button at the wrong time, drew the arms off camera, noticed I wasn't recording, and then erased the arms and tried to draw the arms again, except for some reason I couldn't, and I just struggled for like 10 minutes trying to get the arms to work. And I even changed the arms again because I give him a little fishing rod to hold on to, because one of the first toys that I got the cats, and what is probably still their favorite toy to this day, is this little ball at the end of this fishing rod wand kind of thing, and I just felt like a fisherman cat would be a very cute look for Hawa. I also give him this cloak thingy. If you notice in all my little kind of chibi, I guess, style drawings, I push fabric up around the neck because I just really dislike how chibi necks connect to chibi bodies, because it's either the head is sitting directly on the shoulders or there's just like a really skinny neck supporting an enormous head, neither of which really suit my style or preferences, so I just cover up my problems with fabric. Here I put in his stripy tail, and I contemplate giving him some pants, but eventually just decide against it because, I don't know, he's just got a no pants adventure cat vibe. Actually, Hawa doesn't really have stripes all the way down his body. He has spots near his tail and stripes near his head, but I just went ahead and simplified the design a little. As you can see, I have added a second sketch layer because I wanted to try giving him one of those big gigantic anime booger bubbles, except instead of a booger bubble is just a little demon, because Hawa is the sweetest little cat. He's so friendly and he loves to cuddle, except he's a gremlin. Literally, he is the monster under my bed because he found out he can fit into the space between the mattress and the headboard, and he likes to sleep underneath the mattress. And already I start working on Grohl. Grohl doesn't really have a nickname, but his name has slowly devolved from just being Grohl to Gror. And my husband had the idea of making him a little D&D fighter style character, which suits his personality. Grohl is much more cautious than Hawa regarding guests. He is more particular about when he wants to be held and when he wants to be pet. But unlike Hawa, who only likes to take naps beside you or under you, Grohl really enjoys sleeping in laps or on stomachs if you're laying down, and he always seems to befriend the guest who is the most dog person, if that makes sense. And of course, I gave him the bunched up fabric around his neck and the little mushroom hat just like his brother. I actually spent a bit more time on getting him just right before moving on to drawing the rest of his adventure clothes. Grohl has an interesting pattern of white spots on his body. He has a mostly white like mouth and chin area, but just under his chin it's like brown tabby striped, and on the left under his nose he has a little brown as well. Of course, I simplified the patterns a lot just to suit the drawing style I was working with, but I still wanted to get a sort of uniqueness to them because they are representative of my actual cats. I finally start working out the clothing, and Grohl's clothes are very heavily influenced by these pictures of cats in samurai clothing that I saw on Pinterest. Now, obviously, Grohl is not Japanese at all, so I didn't exactly replicate samurai armor, but I like the long look of katanas and also the way that the fabric and metal plates are layered in samurai armor. And my only goal for this Friday's drawing was to draw things that I liked because I was having a very busy week and I still can't seem to get rid of my cough, even though I'm no longer COVID positive. I also made Grohl a little more stout and wide. As he grew, he always tended to be just a little bit larger than Hawkins. Whether that's because he's always eaten a little bit more, or maybe one or both of their parents are different and he just has different genetics. I know I call them brothers, but to be honest, we have no idea if they're even from the same litter. I could be remembering incorrectly, but I'm fairly sure there were at least 2 or 3 adult female cats that were living in that shed where they were found. However, since Hawa and Grohl were relocated together, they seemed to bond with each other. Hawkins was like the younger brother, always getting in trouble and a bit more carefree, and Grohl was always much more cautious and quiet, sort of older brother who was a little more distrusting of his surroundings. Also, this is the first time I'm making an entire video that features my older, not painty style. I really enjoy doing line art, especially with this particular ink pen. It has a less clean, precise, and it's got this sort of toothy, chunky look, and I just really enjoy that. And I always do a thick lining around all the outside lines in the drawing, and then go back in, decrease the brush size, and line in all the details. I am a bit out of practice for doing line art. Despite that, I do think this turned out pretty well. Plus, it's kind of nice, especially after last week's video. You can just sit here and watch for a while without a ton of dramatic zooming in and out. Of course, I couldn't just draw my cats as adventure cats. I had to give them some sort of tiny adventure backstory. They are brothers. If asked whether or not they are brothers by blood, they respond by asking, does it matter? They have been there for each other reliably for as long as either of them can remember, which is more than can be said of many by-blood relatives. Hawkins, much more optimistic and much less jaded than his brother, always bites off more than he can chew, getting into all sorts of trouble and fearing only what he can't outrun, which so far hasn't been much. While he poses as an innocent fisherman, and while he's certainly skilled enough to be making a decent living as one, he can't help but give in to his mischievous, roguish, devilish instincts and prefer the chase. And he's certainly not bad when it comes to being resourceful with the fishing pole as a weapon. Grohl, on the other hand, took a much more sensible approach, training traditionally, more or less, to become a very skilled fighter. While he's less quick to jump into trouble, he has no problem at all keeping up with his brother when it comes to hijinks. He learned his sword skills from watching the local guards and swordsmen train, practicing his moves as a little kid under the window and refining them when he got older. Though their current abilities allow the two brothers to live relatively comfortably, Grohl still carries habits from his early life, eating every meal, always worrying with a sinking feeling that it might be his last fresh meal, sleeping very lightly and not easily trusting anyone, sizing up anyone that encounters them and quickly deciding whether they are friend or foe. Nonetheless, the two brothers are eager to take on any task that might befall them, from the smallest fetch quest to the biggest monster slaying commission. Hawkins and Grohl are ready to lend a helping hand to those in need. So as you can see here, I have completely filled in a base color to start coloring in Hawa. I did carefully color the base flats in manually, but actually because I did the outline of the line art in one thick line, I could have auto-selected like outside the lines, inverted the selection, and just used the fill tool instead of being so meticulous. At any rate, it gave me the same results. I color the whole thing in one base color on a separate layer under the sketch so that I can really quickly auto-select the entire drawing using the eyedropper select tool, and I can worry less about coloring my flats outside of the line. Also, I know the little boogie demon looks like an eggplant. I just had a hard time deciding what color he should be. He doesn't stay purple forever. And now to continue putting in the flats. Unlike my painterly style where I pretty much work on only 1 or 2 layers, I do work on separate layers for each flat. That way when I go in to do shading, I can just select the flat color and do shadings and gradients or whatnot without worrying that I will affect other parts of the drawing. This style of digital art comes to me just as naturally, if not more naturally, than the painty style that you guys are more used to seeing featured on my YouTube channel. I just feel like this style is maybe a little more boring to watch me work on, and maybe the style isn't as appealing as detailed fantasy art, but you can let me know if you would like to see more stuff like this. While working on Hawa, I decided to name the layers to help me figure out what was what, and as you've seen with my file names, my spelling is just top notch. Not that I can't spell or anything, it just didn't matter enough to me, as long as I knew what I was looking for, and I don't actually continue to name the layers when I work on Groll because I knew what colors I wanted to use on Groll, but for Hawa's drawing, I was just jumping around the piece a lot more. One thing I did for Groll that I didn't for Hawa that I regret is that in Groll's design, I had colored the flats for the fur in, and then I used an overlay layer in a dark color to shade so that both the stripes and the base fur color would have shading. But for Hawa, I just shaded in the same color as the stripes but with a lower opacity. So there's sort of an illusion of shading going on, but really the stripes aren't changing colors. Lessons learned while drawing, I guess. It just is what it is. Also, I don't love how Hawa's tail turned out. I regret giving him triangle stripes. I think I should have left them as lines, but again, it is what it is. We move on. I spent some time here on the shirt trying to get a very specific effect, just a very light and subtle striping. I don't think I quite nailed it, but at this point I do remember that I can use an overlay layer to do shading, so that's a fun time. I then move on to shading his cloak. I do realize that because of the anatomy of these more round-shaped characters and the way I position the cloak to bunch around the neck, that the fishing rod kind of looks like it's just clipping through the collar instead of resting over his shoulder, but just don't look too closely at that. I give Hawa a soft gradient to the eyes. He has much more yellow eyes than his brother, who has more green in his eyes. I also added little light pink stripes to the blush ovals on his cheeks. I'm not sure why I did that. I could have sworn that it's something that I do often in my art when I draw the little cheek spots, but I looked back at my old art where I do a lot of this line art and the little cheek circles, and I just can't find another example of me doing that. So I don't know if it's something I picked up from another artist or what happened, but cheek stripes on the cheek spots, I guess. I also add little spots to the mushroom hat and color in the demon booger, giving him the same color eyes as Hawa. Lastly, I work on the little fishing rod in Hawa's design, just some basic shading going on. It's all gonna be great and we're all gonna have a good time, but unfortunately no, because this wouldn't be a lady split chin video if I didn't forget to press record again. I am bummed that there was so much cut out, but if I wanted a Friday video, there wasn't much I could do about it, just because I had been feeling awful all week and I had to start so late on this drawing. But to recap, you didn't miss out on a whole bunch, besides me actually remembering to auto-select the outline and use the fill tool to put in the base color, and also me remembering to use overlay to shade instead of just a normal layer. Pretty much everything for the coloring process is nearly exactly the same on Groll as was done with Hawa. I am a little disappointed that you never saw the paws while I was coloring his little back paws. Groll has a back paw where one of his toes are tabby colored instead of white, and his toe beans are half pink, half black because of this. But I could not for the life of me remember which foot it was that had the little tabby spawn on it. But anyways, here is the final product of Adventure Cats, Grohl, and Hawkins. While I talk plenty about how there are little details like the tail stripes or the shirt stripes or shading and whatnot that I struggled with, I do love how it turned out. I think it's super cute and suits their respective personalities as well. It's cats, it's mushrooms, it's adventure, all of my favorite things to draw. I also think the color choices were great. Because of the pause, you didn't get to see it, but Grohl's sword is actually color picked directly off of Hawa's shirt. And I used the demon as the highlighting color for Grohl's armor pieces, and they look super cute together. The colors work really well, and I love it. Both of these adventure cats will be uploaded to my Redbubble shop. The link, as always, is in the description, where you can buy them as stickers, shirts, all sorts of fun stuff. I will try to upload them so you can buy them as either separate cats or together as one sticker. And since we are coming up on 'tis the season of gift giving, why not get your friends and family some adventure buddies as well? And I've been thinking about this. I don't have it all worked out, so bear with me. But if you are maybe interested in having your pet or pets turned into Adventure Buddy style characters, you can DM me at Lady Split Chin on either Twitter or Instagram. I would like to do as many as I can. I cannot do them for free, unfortunately, because first of all, I'm a human, and then each character also can take several hours to completely render. And on top of that, time spent communicating with customers, and time is a very valuable resource, and I just cannot afford to be so free with it. So I hope that's okay. And I also hope you're understanding why I'm hesitant to list a price in a video that's going to be permanently online, just because I may not be able to afford to do them at a consistent price forever. And also the price might change depending on how complicated of a drawing that you might want. But yeah, you know, just artist commission things. Anyways, now that all that stressful self-promo is out of the way, I do want to thank you all in general for all the ways that you support me. Buying stuff from my shop is like great and all, but honestly, I'm just thoroughly happy that you all sit here and watch my videos and enjoy the art content that I put out. And that's something that I never dreamed would ever happen. Now go buy my stuff. Just kidding. I don't care. I mean, I do. I enjoy your support, but like, seriously, just do what you want. I don't even know if anybody watches these videos. Does anybody watch the end of these videos? Like all the way to the end? To like the end screens? I don't know. Who knows? Not me.